Anybody in the world could have just said, I'm going to build the next gen trading platform. We are there. We have been developing this for now almost a year. You can make a mistake where there's no coming back. It's not a matter of technology is lagging behind. Technology is there. If we just release this to everybody, almost everybody would start using it.
Is this going to be the Photoshop of the trading industry, because the experience for the user is just so strong?
I love your analogies. People who have never been able to do this thing before will now be able to do it in 10% of the cost and 10% of the time.
Hello, welcome along to FTUK's weekly catch-up live stream. You can't fail to have noticed that it is Trade Locker Week at FTUK. It's been pretty good as well. Very, very popular. A lot of people interested in getting Trade Locker accounts, and for good reason. It's an amazing bit of kit, that video that you just saw with Luca from Trade Locker. The kit that they've made is absolutely outstanding, and you can get an amazing offer still at FTUK on all of your Trade Locker accounts. If you're in the market this weekend for a new prop account, have a look at this landing page here at FTUK, ftuk.com/TradeLocker. It's all on here for you. You get a 30% discount on your Trade Locker account. You also get, and this is different from the other accounts, you also get an increased drawdown of 2% and priority access to Trade Locker Studio. Now, there's a video on the YouTube channel we recorded last week where Lucas shows us what Trade Locker Studio is, how it works. It is incredible, the ecosystem that they are building, and you're going to be able to use Trade Locker Studio like ChatGPT. I want to build an algo that does this. It codes everything for you in Python. You don't need to know anything about coding, literally nothing. It does the whole thing for you. You build your algos, your indicators, whatever it is you want to do, you want to work with as a trader, you can back test it, and then you get it into your Trade Locker platform, and then away you go, you can trade. Just think of the possibilities that you can have with something like that. It's a real game changer. So we're very, very grateful to Trade Locker for having sponsored the entire week. So that offer is still available. You can still get it. And it will be off the table for next week because we are moving into Christmas, of course. And yeah, there's a lot of things to start to discuss as we get to the end of the year. I want to touch on how to set some trading goals. This is very important, particularly if you're new to getting involved in markets. It can be a little bit sort of lumpy because you feel like you're into it, but now it's the holidays and the markets feel a bit different and you're not quite sure why, so understanding the flow of how the year works and then knowing when to sort of press the lever and when to sort of back off a bit. Now is the time to sort of do that reassessing and planning stage as we go into the next week or so. So I want to talk about that in a little bit of detail. We'll also do a quick catch up on the Festive Fortunes, which is competitive, although it looks like the leader at the moment, I had a quick check this morning, is stretching away a little bit, but there's a few more days left on that one. And get ready for the January Jumpstarts. If you missed out on Festive Fortunes, I think you're about 9 days away from the registration opening on that. And then we have the most amazing Christmas offer for you to take us into next week. So let us begin by talking about setting goals. Now, this is really important. Trading is one of those endeavors where you need to have a plan, and by not having a plan, you're sort of planning to fail. It's one of those kind of industries, and you can get very, very sucked up very easily in just watching the market, watching the forums, looking for magic strategies, and not really being accountable for yourself, and just basically creating a track record that you never learn anything from, and you never see your own performance, you never see your own bad habits. And one of the things that you can do at this time of year is start to work on a plan for the next year. Just meditate, think about how you're going to tackle your trading year for 2025. If all you're going to do is just carry on, if you've been failing your prop accounts, if you've not been particularly successful, and your plan at the moment is to just walk into 2025 doing what you were doing for the past 6 months, then you probably need to spend a week or so having a good think about it. Otherwise, you're going to struggle as you get into next year. And it's all about understanding how to set goals. Now, what I've done is I've set a few tips down, which I believe to be very, very effective when starting to plan how you're going to deconstruct your year and how you're going to plan for the year ahead. Remember, there is a science behind how you effectively set goals. It's not just about saying, I want to make $1 million. It's not just about that. It's about understanding who you are as a trader, how to break that whole holistic approach down and put it into a framework that you can actually improve on. The whole science of marginal gains is very, very important, and it all starts with effective goal setting. It's not a random process. There is a science behind it. So the 6 key areas, really, I'm going to be nice and simple as well, so it's not too heavy. And you can get very, very in-depth with all this type of stuff. But there's 6 key areas that you can start to think about over your Christmas lunch of how you are going to tackle your plans and your goals for 2025. They are: number 1, you've got to have goals that are achievable. Number 2, you've got to be relatively strategic in the way that you approach it. You don't want anything that's random. We as traders, we operate in uncertainty enough, and you are your own kind of like measurement, as it were. You need to be very, very strategic in the way that you approach your goal setting. Number 3, you need to have goals that you can measure. You need to have something that is quantifiable, so that as you start to enact your trading goals and your plans for the new year, you need to know how well you're doing with them. Number 4 is about having plans and goals that are controllable. As I said, we operate in uncertainty, so the only thing that you can control, that you have control over, is yourself. So you need plans and goals that also are something that you can control. The 5th thing is about being flexible. We as traders need to be flexible. I've started doing analysis in our Red News emails, and if you've been reading any of those emails, you'll see that it's all about trying to come up with scenarios of what could happen. Some of them can be quite far-fetched. Some of them can be quite narrow and sort of like contained. But as a trader, you have to think in 360 degrees at all times. So flexibility as a trader is very, very important, and that feeds into the way that you set your goals. And also finally as well, positivity. Training is hard enough as it is, so you have to have a positive mindset as well, and that starts with framing the way that you are going to approach your year in a very, very positive way. So let's start at the beginning. Let's talk about what achievability is in goal setting. Well, this is about making sure that what you're doing is you are being very clear and you're being realistic. It's very easy to say, okay, well, because we have a very aggressive scaling program, it's very easy to look at what we offer at FTUK and say, okay, well, I want to be at the top there. I want to be right on level 6, level 7, and I want to be right at the top, and I want to do that within, 6 weeks. Yeah. And that is something that is potentially not going to be achievable for most people, I think it's fair to say. You can scale aggressively at FTUK, but quite often what happens, people that hit their targets very quickly, some people will attempt to pass an account very aggressively within a couple of days. Well, if you think about the logic of that, that would mean you'd be up to level 7 within 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I think that's not necessarily going to be sustainably achievable for most people, and as a financial performance, I think it's a little bit too aggressive. So what you've got to do is make sure whatever your goals are going to be, financially or part of your process as learning as a trader, that they are something that you feel that you can achieve, because if you fail, then you're going to get sort of downtrodden and you're not going to feel particularly good about it. You're going to be demotivated. So achievability is the first important aspect of it. Let's move on to being strategic. Now, this strategic is not, I'm not talking about having a trading strategy. Of course, that is very important. I'm talking about how you plan your goals for the new year. And the way that I would approach doing that is by being strategic. And what that is say, if you've got an achievable goal that you think you can do, is put a pin in the map and say where that is going to be, and then work backwards. What that does is it takes your plan and it splits it down into manageable chunks. So say, for example, you could say to yourself, well, where do I want to be, either from a performance point of view, or in terms of fixing a bad habit, or in terms of hitting a particular target in your evaluation, or whatever that bit of your plan is. Where do I want to be at the end of Q1? Okay, well, once you know what that is and what that pin in the map is supposed to be, you can always work backwards. So by being strategic, what we do is we say, that's where we want to go, and this is how we're going to get there. This is how you're going to break that goal down. So that could be saying, okay, well, I want to pass my 2-step within the first 3 months. Okay, well, that's fine then. So what does that mean from a performance point of view? Because we know where we need to be in 3 months' time by the end of March. So where do we need to be at the beginning of March? Where do we need to be at the beginning of February? How does that break down from a performance point of view on a week-to-week basis? Because then you can get to a point where you say, well, I need to be averaging... If I'm risking less than 2% on this type of position size, on this type of distance in the market, on a daily basis, I need to average 10 pips. Once you start to understand that, you stand the chance of being able to help yourself understand how you're going to get where you want to go from a performance point of view. So that is what being strategic is all about. It's about looking where you want to go and then working backwards. It's very, very important. Next one is about having goals and plans that are measurable. And this is not just a question of saying, looking at your P&L, because obviously one of the great things about being a trader is that you get instant feedback on your performance. The market never lies. Your balance on your equity never lie. So they are always a very useful barometer on how you are doing. But how are you going to stick to the plans that you've got, no matter what they are, whether you're trying to iron out a bad habit or whether you're going to hit a particular target from a withdrawal point of view in terms of the funds that you want to be withdrawing on a consistent basis? How are you going to actually sort of like measure that? One of the key ways that you can do that, if you've not been doing it in 2024, is be a trader that gets used to journaling. And I don't necessarily mean just writing down what happened. I mean learning from your journaling as well. That is immensely important. So one of the key aspects of a goal that is measurable is a goal that you find a way to be able to record the progress as you're working through, and that is what gives you something that is measurable. The next aspect is about being flexible. Now, flexibility as a trader is absolutely paramount. You should always be thinking in both directions. The scenario for the bullish case is this. Yeah, but what happens if it doesn't happen? That's what I want to happen. And what happens if we end up being in a market that just tanks on us? What would the plan then be? Would we reverse course? Would we sit out? All of that flexibility is very, very important as a trader. You can still trade your view, but you have to be flexible. And your plans and goals should be flexible too. Remember that we always operate in a situation, in an environment of uncertainty, and that is something that human beings are not particularly good at. So you could approach 2025 and saying, okay, right, I didn't have any luck as a scalper last year. I'm not doing scalping anymore. I'm just going to be a swing trader. And that's me. That's my approach. That's all I'm going to do. And then what you do is you become very dogmatic in your approach to actually enacting that out in the market. But of course, financial markets are uncertain, and there is a sort of like an undulating weave to the map of the year that doesn't necessarily suit all approaches all of the time. So for example, you could get towards the summer months when it starts to get when volatility can sort of like, clam up a little bit, the markets can seem dead, and all of a sudden your swing trading approach is just not getting you anywhere. You're really struggling to make the distances that you were trying to make. So having the flexibility to say, okay, well, yeah, that was part of my plan and my goal, but I've also got another strand here that I can use in case something else happens. That is what being flexible in your goal planning always looks like. It's very, very, very important. And finally, the last aspect is to be positive. Always be positive in the way that you frame your approach to setting your goals and your targets, because it's only you that can do them. It's only you that can pass your account. It's only you that can control your downside. It's only you that presses the mouse button. So give yourself the positive reflection back on yourself all the time. So it sounds silly, really, and this applies to any industry and any endeavor, really, no matter what it is that you're trying to achieve. But specifically for trading, it's very easy when you're going through those hard times to beat yourself up and get into a negative sort of mindset and feedback loop. Don't do that. Obviously, go into the new year and really have a point of view of thinking to yourself that the way you want to actually the way that you actually want to put your year together is in a very positive frame. So that is very simply by just phrasing your language in a positive way. So say, for example, you would say, I can stick to my risk management plan because I've been not very good at risk management. So I can do this, and these are the reasons why I can do it, versus saying to yourself, okay, I must not now, I must not, I've been blown up several accounts over the course of the year. I must not now risk more than 2% of a trade. You just that negative frame of mind really makes things a lot more challenging. That's for sure. Yes, so there's 6 key tips for setting goals. It is the time of year to be doing it in the market. Absolutely, 100%. Okay, let us now move on. Let's have a quick catch up on this, the Festive Fortunes competition. Very popular, and big competitions are going to be one of the big things that we do in 2025 for sure at FTUK. They are popular, and let's have a quick check on the stats at the moment. You can see it here in front of you here. You can see that we have got 11 days left on the standings for the Festive Fortunes, and there's about half the people left because people breach their accounts and they aren't successful. So there's only 50 people left in the competition. 11 days to go. Let's have a look at the standings. We've got Pibri Y from Indonesia. He is in the lead at the moment. And he's stretching away. Look at that, 31.51%, $33,000. Wow, amazing, with 11 days to go. So there's just quite a gap now reaching out between first place and second place. So it's good to see that as those guys are still in there, still hammering away. And there is the top 10. So yeah, if you want to get involved in our competition, the next one is coming up very soon. You can see it there. It is the January Jumpstart. That is the competition that will be starting right at the beginning of January, and registration will open a couple of days before then. So if you are not part of that just yet, then you obviously need to get involved in the landing page for that. You'll see in the description below that there is a link. You can sign up to the email list. So as soon as registration opens, you'll get a ping through to your inbox straight away, and then you can sign up so you don't miss out. The registration is not open at the moment, but all of the prizes and the details are on there for you. And then moving into February, I have a very strong feeling that prices are going to increase. So this is going to be something that's really big at FTUK next year, doing lots of different types of competitions, depending on what you're interested in. Some shorter, some longer, some bigger prizes, some smaller prizes, so it's definitely something you want to get involved in. Yep, popular it is. That is the competitions. And finally, the last thing to talk about in 2024 is our Christmas offer. Because it's nearly Christmas, and we've got a couple of offers now to take us into the end of the year. First up is going to be our Christmas offer, and then we will go to an offer in the new year. But for next week, because TradeLocker is ending now, so if you want a TradeLocker account, get the deal on the TradeLocker account now, particularly if you want the extra 2% drawdown. Our Christmas offer there you can see on the screen in front of you. This is going to be for next week only, and that's going to be a huge 35% off all of our accounts. You'll get the level 7, which is the top tier of capital. You'll get that unlocked and thrown in there as part of the deal as well, and it's on every single account. It's not just TradeLocker, it's on Match Trade, it's on DX, and it's on all of the account sizes as well. Have a look at the link in the description below that. You can see it on the screen there as well. FTUK.com is the web link that you want, and that will take you to the page that you can see over there, looking very nice and Christmassy, and all the extra details are on there. Just press that Let's Go button there, and that will take you through to it. But it's from next week only. It's from just that Christmas week. So just bear that in mind. The code there as well, you can see there at the bottom, is Xmas35. Okay. That is it. That is it for 2024. Good year, interesting year. Very difficult for the prop industry. It's been challenging for sure. FTUK are still here, and we've loved every single minute of working with you, and we are very grateful to all of our traders who have been successful and have been with us and been very supportive throughout what has been a challenging year. So we wish you a very Merry Christmas, and I hope you have a fantastic New Year as well. There'll be no live stream next Friday, but we will be back in 2025, and everything will be moving forward from there. Thank you very much. Wish you a Merry Christmas, and we will see you all in the new year.